Brock. I'm here with Danny Miller, and I don't even know where to begin. I mean, so, you know, recap for someone who's living under the bridge. Yesterday, really at the behest of Donald Trump, the right-wing weirdos of America literally stormed the Capitol building, right? I mean, and we all saw the pictures and videos of people climbing walls, busting in windows, and they literally took control of the Capitol building for a period of time.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, this has me a little bit messed up. I had trouble wrapping my mind around this last night.
Yeah. But you're not surprised.
No, not because I'm surprised that it all happened, but that it happened the way it happened is really messing with me. And I thought about this. I was up until like 2 last night thinking about this because it feels surreal. It feels unreal that in America this is happening. You know what it feels like? This feels like it's out of a movie. This feels like, because think about this. If I told you that you'd see a scenario in America where all of these things transpire, you'd be like, get out of here. Nuh-uh, that's not going to happen. I mean, you know, the very idea that some individuals, random American, we're not talking about like Navy SEALs. We're talking about regular dudes could bum rush the United States Capitol building and actually get in.
With their Confederate flags.
Right. With Confederate flags, with you know, Make America Great flags, with
Trump
flags. They could actually, the fact that they rushed the Capitol building, not a surprise. The fact that they got through is scary. But it made me realize this is like something you would only see in a movie. So for people out there who think to themselves or have ever said like, you know, Hitler or Napoleon or any of those types of things, people, that could never happen in America today. Well, you've been proven wrong because it's happening right now as we speak. And so this is my theory. This is what I thought about last night. I was thinking about this. This is like out of a movie because, you know, we had this, and you got to go back 4 years. We had this crazy election, and it's on the heels of the first ever black president and all that stuff, and America's in an uproar and blah, blah, blah. And you have this election, and by some weird twist, the bad guy wins. And I use that language purposefully, the bad guy, because Donald Trump is the bad guy.
Yeah, make no mistake about it.
It is unequivocally true. He's the bad guy. And and there are going to be people who say, but how do you get to say he's the bad guy? Here's the easy way. In my movie scenario, when have you ever gone to a movie and the evil billionaire is the good guy?
Right. Never.
You've never seen that.
No.
When have you ever gone to a movie and seen a storyline where the guy saying, we hate the Mexicans.
Right.
Let's build a wall.
Yep.
Keep them out.
Yeah.
Or making fun of people with disabilities, or attacking war veterans, or any of that stuff. When have you ever seen any of that stuff in The Good Guys?
Preach. You've never seen
It's
it.
never happened.
No.
So, okay, this is not the movies. This is real life. In real life, he's the bad guy. Period.
It's pretty simple.
It's really basic. This is not complicated. He's the bad guy. And what's crazy to me is that there are people who don't see that, who can't recognize that he's the bad guy.
No.
And so what's keeping me up at night is the idea that this is playing out. It's because here's what happens. People see this and they start justifying it. Oh yeah, but a lot of people protest, and you've seen Black Lives Matter protests and blah blah blah, and there's rioters, and it's always wrong when anybody does it. No, this is different. These are the bad. So Black Lives Matter, and go back in history in America, the Watts riots, and all the different times when there's been racial unrest. At the core of it is people protesting actual oppression.
Mm-hmm. And let's not make the mistake of trying to lump Black Lives Matter in with Antifa,
right?
Or Antifa, well, however you say it. They're not the same.
No, it's not the same thing.
No.
And even Antifa, I'm gonna go as far as to say, even Antifa.
I agree with you.
The actual name Antifa, it's anti-fascism. Mm-hmm. So while you might disagree with their methods, you have to recognize that being anti-fascism is a good thing.
Yeah. Of course.
Maybe we call it misguided.
Yeah.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. But we could go down that wormhole, and I'm not convinced that I would lose the argument that they're not the good guys.
No, I agree with you.
But I digress. The fact of the matter is, these MAGA terrorists, they're not protesters. These MAGA terrorists, they're the bad guys. Mm-hmm. And again, when you're screaming about, all the people on the side of the MAGA and the Donald Trump, and you're talking about, they're all the racists, all the white supremacists, all of that is in the same. They're all in the same boat. They're the bad guys. Mm-hmm. And what's driving me crazy is that people don't see it. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, so we're in this movie, right? And by some evil maniacal genius, the evil billionaire convinces half of America to go along with his plan, right? Because that's what you can do in the movie where you're the evil billionaire. And
don't forget narcissistic.
Absolutely. But so you got half of America snowed. They're on your side, and behind the scenes you're just robbing people blind. You're making deals with world leaders, all the bad guys of the world. You're making deals with them,
enriching yourself and your family,
right? Because you're the bad guy,
mm-hmm.
right? And what's crazy is that in the movie, when you are watching it, you can be like, come on, you got to be able to see that he's the bad guy. Come on, snap out of it, right? But this is real life, so people are like, that wouldn't actually happen. But it did. It's happening. But here's my problem. Here's my frustration. In the movie, there's also the good guy behind the scenes, like taking down bad guys one at a time. Right? There's the who, I mean, so you got to figure, like, what I'm saying is, where's Gerard Butler? You know what I mean?
Right.
You know that movie Olympus Has Fallen? Mm-hmm. When the bad guys seem to have taken control, there's the one holdout good guy who's like, I'm not letting my country down, and I'm gonna go take these bad guys down. Where you at?
They tried to come out last night in the Senate, like Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, and
Lindsey Graham wants to wait to the last second.
And that's my thing. I'm like, listen, in this movie scenario, y'all got like 10 minutes left. The movie's almost. You better hurry up.
In the movie, though, if they wait to the last 10 minutes to come around and finally say the right thing and do the right thing, are they considered heroes?
No. If you just say so, it's easy right now for all these people, members of Congress, Senate, the House and the Senate, to say the right stuff. That's easy right now.
Yeah. To
say the right thing and say, like, this is terrible what happened, because everybody watched. There were people literally storming the Capitol. So you saying that they were bad, that's easy today. Mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
That's that. I don't have much for you on that. Like, miss me with that. Today you want to say it's bad. No, last week before they had stormed the Capitol, you knew what they wanted to do.
Yeah, that was easy.
So yeah, so you co-signed last week, but today you want to condemn them?
They've been co-signing for the last 4.
That's what I'm saying.
Years.
So no, you today coming out and saying this was bad, this is not America. No, you're not a hero. The hero, what I want to know is, where's Colin Powell? Like,
Well, actually, he was on MSNBC this morning.
what did he say?
Calling him out.
But here's my thing. I'm not joking when I say this. This is the part of the movie where you're supposed, Colin Powell, if you can hear me, this is the part of the movie where you're supposed to sneak into the Pentagon, grab a couple tanks,
Right.
and get your crew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And why? How is he still in the Oval Office? That's what I'm trying to say.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to
You know what I
ask.
mean? Like, this is the time. This is it. You don't have much time left. You got to hurry up because here's the thing that I think people forget. You know, I saw a lot of people on the news last night saying they didn't succeed. They didn't succeed at stopping because what they wanted to do was stop Congress from certifying the vote, therefore signifying that Biden actually won the election. And they didn't succeed at that. So people are saying they didn't win. But make no mistake, just because late last night Congress went about their business and certified the election and it's official now and Biden will be our next president, that doesn't mean victory. We didn't. The good guys didn't win yet. Because if that's all that happens, right? If Donald Trump finishes out his term as president and goes on about his business and there aren't mass arrests of not only Trump and his crew, but all of the people who stormed the Capitol, if they don't all end up in prison, federal prison, then the good guys win. Because understand, the average Joe is still under that trance. Yesterday, I had conversations with people, I won't mention them live, people who wanted to justify what was happening. And I want to clear the air and I was there and it wasn't what everybody thinks.
Well, what was it?
That's what I'm saying. The average Joe, there are still many, many people who are making, that's why people are making the argument, yeah, but rioting is bad and there's rioting with Black Lives Matter and there's rioting with Antifa and so blah, blah, blah. No, because the average Joe doesn't get it. This isn't the same thing. This is another level, right? And so if the only thing that happens is that Joe Biden becomes the next president, then we still have to deal with the fact that half of America is still under this trance. And we have this growing faction of Americans who believe in the bad guy.
They believe the lies.
Right. And the only way you defeat that is if we unequivocally, as a nation, agree that they were the bad guys, they are now in prison, that is over. So that no one can argue, well, they were martyrs and they were on the side of justice and they were trying to fix this and blah, blah, blah. That'd be like, I mean, and there are people out there right now who say Hitler was on he was on to something. He was right and that we should finish his business. There are people today who will say that. It's just that most of the world has now come to agree that Hitler was a bad guy and that we're glad he's gone and that we're glad he didn't succeed. Right. And if that doesn't happen with Donald Trump, then they win. Or at least the fight's not over. I'll put it like that.
And it's not over.
It's not over. You're right. It's not over because, I mean, Donald Trump himself, he's got 2 more weeks to incite.
Yep.
And
not just 2 more weeks. He got a Twitter account.
And that's what I'm saying. So He's the most powerful man on earth for 2 more weeks.
Mm-hmm.
He can recruit as many followers as he wants, and they get to go off and do whatever they plan to do. And whether that ends in civil war or just them continuing to fleece Americans of their wealth and line their own pockets, I don't know what his evil plan is, but it's an evil plan. Mm-hmm. And unless he is actually thwarted, unless he is locked up and the books are written and we are all coming to consensus that they are the bad guys, and we send the message to middle America, stop acting like he was trying to help America. He wasn't. Mm-mm. Unless that happens, then they didn't lose. We didn't beat them. The good guys didn't win the day. Mm-hmm. Right? Because just removing him from the presidency by way of another election, that's not winning. That's not a victory, because we should all already know that he's the bad guy. There shouldn't be anyone out there arguing about this.
Donald Trump has done plenty of things in his 4 years that should have had him locked up, at least kicked out of the office. Why is he still in the office after all this stuff? And then you want to wait to the last hour,
the last possible second, right?
To call him out.
And there are people right now, and I'm not a constitutional scholar, so don't get me up here lying, but there are people now saying it's time for Mike Pence to use the 25th Amendment. Apparently, you can just you can remove him if you figure out that he's unwilling to fulfill his duties as president. You can remove him. And I'm like, and this is why I say it's a bigger problem than what maybe people are recognizing, because the fact that hasn't happened yet says everything. Mm-hmm. The fact that he hasn't been removed, the fact that there is any ambiguity about whether or not he's the bad guy is crazy to me. Mm-hmm. Right? Because before yesterday, theoretically, you could argue, I don't like what he says, I don't like his methods, but I like his policies and blah, blah, blah. Maybe you could make that argument. But after yesterday, I mean, it is as clear. It's clear and linear. He has been saying for months, if I lose, it's a rigged election. Oh,
no. He's been saying that since 2016.
That's a good point. It's longer than a couple months.
Yeah, he's been planting this seed.
But he really started to hammer it down.
Yeah.
And then he loses the election, and he starts he's dropping hints about violence and my people will do X, Y, and Z. Stand by. He's telling them stand down and stand by. Like, get ready.
He told them to go to the Capitol.
Right. And then he tells them to go to the Capitol. And then they go to the Capitol and they storm the Capitol.
And he tells them he loves them.
And so now there's no way to construe this as anything other than what it is. He's the leader. His people are following him, and they attempted a takeover. Mm-hmm. They are the bad guys. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. And the fact that like Obama didn't call the generals and say, let's ride. The fact that Pence, somebody, I don't know who, somebody got to play the role of the Gerard Butler character in this movie and come and save the day. Somebody has to do it, because this is ridiculous.
I don't see it happening. Apparently, there are some Republicans who are talking about invoking the 25th Amendment, but you're just going to talk about it.
But that's what I'm saying. Talking about it's not enough.
Nah.
Do it.
It should have been done last night.
It should have been done immediately.
Yeah.
And I would argue it could have been done a year ago, but that's fine. Okay, you don't want to believe the whole Russia thing? Mm-hmm. Cool. Maybe we made all of that up. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, you all watched it on Fox News and CNN and MSNBC. You saw it. Mm-hmm. There's no two way. It's not ambiguous. It's not it's clear. Okay, so if we watched it all happen and then he's still the president, that means what it means about America. Right? It means exactly what people have been saying for years, which is that America is not what it suggests that it is. Because it's embedded in the slogan, with liberty and justice for all. And you sometimes can forget what justice means. Justice doesn't just mean I want the right stuff for the average American. It means the bad guys are supposed to be brought to justice. And so it is what it is. If America is about justice for all, then justice for Donald Trump is federal prison.
And his regime.
The whole crew.
Anyone who was complicit.
Anyone. All of them. You need to be locked up. If it's about justice for all, then lock them up.
Yeah.
Let's have justice.
Yeah, because what's the message you're going to send if you don't?
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if yesterday happened and the only repercussion is that he is no longer the president 2 weeks from now, then he successfully exposed America as a farce.
Back in 2015, when Donald Trump announced that he was going to run, we said, you and I were having conversations the whole time, maybe Donald Trump is what America needs, because you and I are thinking progressively.
Right.
We knew back in 2015, America wasn't what it needed to be.
Right.
We knew that.
We called it.
Yeah. And so we said, it was a slow change. We got Obama in, which was really good and it was great, but he really wasn't able to do much.
Right.
It was a slow progression
to
where we wanted to be. But we knew if we wanted real change here in America, we needed Donald Trump to come in and blow everything up.
And I 100%, I had this thought yesterday. This is exactly what I saw coming.
Sure. No doubt.
You and I had this conversation, so it's the truth.
Years ago.
And because when we were looking at Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, what I argued was Hillary Clinton is too much of the same. It's all right, then we're just going to keep on rolling with this system.
Right.
And so what I said was, maybe we need Donald Trump. Maybe if Donald Trump destroys the whole thing, everyone will see it to be the farce that it is, and then want to make it into actual liberty and justice for all.
Right. Blow it up and then let's rebuild.
And rebuild it.
And that's what's happening.
And so in that sense, he's doing exactly what I hoped he would do. He would expose it, and he did.
Right.
But the only way this thing works is if you do what you have to do now. Right? If you're the Mike Pences of the world, if you are the Mitch McConnells of the world, the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, then you have to remove him. You have to forcibly remove him and then go change everything about our system so that this never happens again. That is the only way that they don't win. The only way the good guys win is if what comes of this is true equality and justice and fairness in America.
Right.
That is the only victory.
Right.
Anything short of that, then the bad guys won.
Yeah.
And so, think about this. I'm back in my movie analogy. Everybody has seen the movie, and whenever the bad guy attempts to he play out his evil plot. And you're like, all right, but how are they going to get past security? And then you see the little montage where the bad guys are in police uniforms and they're like, letting their boys in through the security gate. And you're like, oh, snap. They infiltrated the police and they got bad guys on the inside now. Now watch the footage from yesterday.
They're taking selfies.
Police taking selfies. Police essentially getting out of the way so
Senators.
that these bumpkin, like bumbling idiot terrorists can run up in the Capitol building with fur skin hats on.
Thinking they're Vikings.
And so my thing is, it means exactly what it means. Stop trying to make it into something different. It is what it is. It means there are bad guys in power.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, when black people talk about, you know, police reform and talk about police brutality and talk about all the Black Lives Matter protests and all that stuff, it's based on the premise that there are bad guys
Mm-hmm.
that are judges and lawyers and police, and they are playing out their bad guy narrative on America. And most people are like, get out of here. The average police officer, the average politician, they are fundamentally good, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but yesterday you got to see
Mm-hmm.
that there are bad guys.
And how much damage they can do.
And how much damage they can do, because I don't care how many it takes. If I saw a police officer in the Capitol building taking a selfie with a terrorist. So that, I mean, again, that is not ambiguous. Mm-hmm. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. You can't write that off.
No, you can't write that off, and you have to call it what it is. It's the bad guys being the bad guys, and having help from the inside. So now, again, in order for the good side to win, they have to be locked up. Because think about it, in the movie, as the credits roll, you see those bad guy police officers in handcuffs with their heads down, like mm-hmm. being carted off to federal prison.
Yeah.
That's the way the movie goes.
Right. You can't claim law and order.
You can't.
You can't claim that. And which is one of the things that has frustrated me about Donald Trump from day one. He is the president of law and order.
Right.
Whew.
Yeah, it's all a lie, but now the lie's been exposed. So what we have to do is be honest. We have to be willing to be honest and say, okay, so clearly these are the bad guys. They are attempting to destroy this nation and fleece this nation, line their own pockets, do whatever whatever their plot is. We can all agree it's not okay.
It wasn't to serve the American people.
Right. It was never about serving the American people. Mm-mm. So, okay. So once we figured that out, you can't just say, well, he'll be done being president in 2 weeks.
Right.
What?
Right. Can't work like that.
No, it can't. It can't work that way. Because if it does work that way, what it means is this is not real. Right. None of this is real.
Right.
It's all a lie. Now, the problem is people of color have been saying for years that it's all a lie. Mm-hmm. Right? And naive people in America have been saying, no. It's fundamentally right and true and fair and good. We got to tweak the system, but it's fundamentally good. Now what? What are you going to say now?
They're going to still spin it.
Because the fact of the matter is Donald Trump asked his followers to come to the Capitol, and they did. And they stormed the Capitol, and Donald Trump woke up the president today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing's changed.
You know what I mean? If you do all that, you can't wake up and still be the president.
Not if you're black.
Well, if you were black, you'd be dead.
Yeah, I'd have said he'd have been swinging from a tree.
Yeah, he'd be dead already.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, what are you going to do? Serious. You know the idea of interest convergence?
No.
I can't remember his name. His name escapes me. Law professor came up with this idea of interest convergence. So if people share a similar interest, so let's, black folks, if white folks feel like their interests align with black folks and killing, black people, they're going to be on board with anything that black folks are saying.
Okay.
But as soon as there's a divide and they don't have it, there's no interest in what we have going on,
they stop paying attention.
They stop paying attention to us. And in fact, not only do they stop paying attention to us, they start fighting us.
Right.
They start fighting us.
Right.
That's what we're seeing. But that person that you referred to, or that person that you talked about before with the Viking hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
If only he realized he has more in common with us than he does with Donald Trump, we would be on the same side here.
But
they can divide us so easily.
But here's the problem. Because I hate even seeing this as a race thing. Because I think, oddly enough, a lot of the people who are following Donald Trump don't recognize how racist Donald Trump is. I think a lot of them are just afraid. They are afraid. It's a natural thing to be afraid of what's coming. You're seeing the world on some level even out a little bit. And no matter what, if you are used to having an advantage, equality is scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it's normal and natural for a lot of people to be afraid right now because, I mean, America's changing. And so young people are getting a voice. And as young people get a voice, they're not going to have a tolerance for the sexism and the racism and the, you know, all the stuff, right? And so the old cronies of the world, they're scared. They're freaking out a little bit. Mm-hmm. I get that. I don't actually think that they're all literally racist.
No, you're right about the equality. It feels like oppression to them.
Yeah, equality will feel like oppression to someone who's used to having an advantage.
When you got to share.
Yeah, now you got to share. You had everything, and now you got to share. It's like what's going to happen? Mm-hmm. How will that work? It's scary, mm-hmm. and I get that, but that's not oppression.
Right.
That's the problem. The problem is we're pretending that their grievances are valid. When people are talking about, yeah, but it's nobody should be allowed to protest and break stuff and blah, blah, blah. Rioting is rioting and it's all wrong. No, when you're rioting and breaking stuff and burning stuff down in the face of true human rights violations, then you got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody says that the Boston Tea Party was a riot. You know why? Because now we see, they were right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It had to happen.
It had to happen. But these MAGA people, you're not oppressed. Stop it. You are not oppressed. Okay? This is not oppression. I don't
want to cut you off, but they are oppressed. There's a 1% of this population that controls all of that.
Yeah, but
it is oppression. It's different than what black folks experience, though.
But yes, I agree with you. The ultra wealthy are oppressing all of us.
Yes,
but that's not the oppression that they are fighting.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Right. They got their focus on something else.
They're focused on, why do I have to be politically correct? Mm-hmm. And why do we have to be kind and loving to all people, even though they're different? And why is it okay for Muslims to be here? Why is it okay for Mexicans to come into this country and have jobs and stuff and eat and live? What?
Mm-hmm.
What? You're dumb.
That's their idea of
It's
oppression.
as simple as that. Listen, if you think that is oppression, you're just dumb.
That's white privilege.
Yeah, if you think that America being the land of opportunity for everybody is unfair, go kick rocks because you're dumb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Simple and plain. You're dumb. If you don't understand that Donald Trump, he's a con man, he's got you tricked.
I think they understand it, but I think he's fighting their fight.
Yeah,
he's giving them a voice again, so they're willing to.
Right, he's saying what they wanted to say, and so they're buying it.
Right,
but understand what it means. It is what it is. You're the bad guys,
mm-hmm.
and you're so self-indulgent. You're so into your perspective that you can't even see. Like, I think about this. You've never gone to the movies and seen the good guy in the movie say any of what you say.
Mm-mm.
So how do you not know you're the bad guy? That doesn't make any sense.
It's devilry.
I mean, like, what do you mean you think you're the good guy because you want to build a wall? Like, you want to build a wall on the Mexican border, but you don't want to build a wall on the Canadian border. And yet you think
you're the good guy. You're the good guy.
How?
In what world?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
In America.
How? How's that even possible? How do you wrap your mind around that and make it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I can't even say this is a white people thing. Because, don't get me wrong. Most of the people who are in that bag are white. But this is a privilege thing. This is you are so comfortable in your life that you want to stay comfortable. and you believe that someone else having a piece of the pie threatens your piece of the pie. So I want to take a quick break and give some air to our sponsors, and then we're going to talk about what has to happen next.
Yeah, because there's more to unpack here.
Absolutely. I certainly never imagined I'd have a baby on my hands at 44. My first child was born when I was 17. And with my oldest daughter being grown now, and my son being 15, I thought I'd be an empty nester by 50. I figured I'd be traveling, living the life. But life doesn't always go as planned. I got divorced and remarried to a woman 10 years younger than me, and she wanted kids. So here we are. Age 44, brand new baby. I thought it might be cool to document some of my time with the baby and what I learned from it. I know I'm supposed to be teaching her about the world, but it sure does feel like I'm the one learning. The life expectancy of an African American male is somewhere around 70 years, which means I'm definitely on the back nine. This vlog will be a record of my journey to relearn fatherhood on the back nine. So we're back. House call with Dr. Rueben Brock. I am Dr. Rueben Brock. Danny Miller here. We are talking about where we go from here. Mm-hmm. What has to happen next. And I firmly believe that what has to happen next is a total overhaul. If we don't see today that our system is broken, then we will never see it. It's as simple as that. Our system is broken. This is a broken system. Because this is all comes down to people believing that our system is broken. But the fact of the matter, it is broken. It's not necessarily broken in the way that they think it's broken, but it is a broken system. Mm-hmm. Because think about it. We talk about a government of the people, by the people, for the people, right? But we don't just use the popular vote. We use this weird, ridiculous system of, okay, everybody gets to vote, but then we hire these representatives to kind of represent their vote, but we have a skewed way of counting how many votes everybody gets. Mm-hmm. What? Broken. No. Let everybody vote. Mm-hmm. Count the votes. Whoever wins, wins.
Simple.
It's as simple as that. Stop it with all the rest of this nonsense. Because if you could do that, if you could make it so that 1-to-1 popular vote, people just vote, and the person with the most votes wins, and you could make it so that it's a relatively secure system for making it so that my vote is counted one time, and that's that, then we don't have any of it. We can stop talking about all this nonsense about certifying the Electoral College and all this other nonsense and blah. Stop it. Mm-hmm. But understand that that's not the system that the people in power actually want. They don't want it to be that every person has an equal say. Mm-hmm. Because if every person had an equal say, you would never have another Donald Trump type person, because there aren't enough dumb people in the world.
Mm-hmm. It's not only that, but the wealthy billionaires wouldn't be around. They're the ones who are writing the laws.
If you create a system where you can only be in Congress for 10 years and then you got to go. Yeah. You fix half of this stuff.
Right.
Because half of it's just corruption. Mm-hmm. This is just corruption.
Yeah. We got to take the money out of the politics.
Right. If the fact that our Congress people, they when they retire, they get like all their benefits for life.
Forever. Yep. Yep.
Well, of course they're going to rig the system in their favor if that's the case. Mm-hmm. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So fix it.
Term limits is where we really need to start. That's the easiest one.
Take all money out of politics.
Yeah. That's going to be hard to do, but term limits is relatively easy.
But it's not that difficult.
When it's money, it's difficult.
But what I'm saying is, if you say we're not going to allow money to be an influence in this electoral process, you cannot buy influence. So we're going to have some public debates. Everybody listens to the debates and choose. Mm-hmm. Because any system in which the person with the most money has more voice than, well, then you just introduce corruption into your system.
Right. Yeah.
Because here's the thing. People want to be outraged about injustice, but they choose which injustice they want to be outraged about.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
If you want true fairness and equality, then the billionaire shouldn't be able to buy a bunch of airtime that the poor person can't buy.
Right.
And then they now have an advantage. Mm-hmm. Like if you're in an election, if you're let's say you're running for state rep and you have an endless amount of money, and you can just put yourself on television, you're going to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because someone like me, I can't do that.
I was gonna say that about you from when you ran.
You can't do that, right? So the person with the connections, the person with the money, the person with the influence, they will just win.
Yep.
9 times out of 10, they're going to just win. Are there exceptions? Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part in America, because it's a capitalist system, the person with the most money will probably win.
Right.
One of the things that I didn't think about until I ran for office and I talked to people who were in politics, what they explained was you actually don't want brand new elected officials all the time.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be like a whole Congress full of first-time politicians, because then you got people running the show that don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
And what ends up happening is then their assistants are the ones that know everything, and they actually have all the power, right? Because if I take over for, let's say I run for office and I take over for Guy Rushenthaler, right? I don't know what I'm doing, so I keep some of the people who are already there in that office because they know the lay of the land. So then what ends up happening is the elected official is a revolving door, and the people behind the scenes end up being the ones who are there for a long time, and they end up being the ones with the power because they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So what you need is for people, there's got to be a sweet spot. You want people to be there a while so they can learn what to do and actually make a difference, but you don't want them there so long. You don't want a Mitch McConnell. You don't want a Nancy Pelosi who's been there forever.
Or a Biden.
Right. Yeah. You don't want that.
Right.
You don't want them being there forever. And so there's a sweet spot. And so I don't know what the sweet spot is, but I'm thinking something in the 10-year range makes some sense.
Sounds about right.
You can do it for 10 years, then you got to go.
Yeah.
Because then there would be no incentive to make a system in which that position comes with all that power and money and all that stuff, because you know you're not going to be there that long.
Yeah. The problem is 10 years is a long time, and it's enough time for a group like the NRA to invest their money into a candidate. But
that's why I'm saying you take all that out. You take the money out. It shouldn't even be allowed.
Yeah, I agree. It shouldn't be allowed. I just don't see how that's going to happen ever.
It happens by people saying, "Oh, I see the problem. Mm-hmm. Okay, we can't do that anymore."
Yeah.
Because in theory, yes, you want corporations to be able to invest in whatever is in their best interest and blah, blah, blah. I get it. But the fact of the matter is, that's in a perfect world where corporations aren't corrupt. We're in America where corporations are corrupt. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So then you can't do it. You have to say, I see how this plays out, so we have to stop. It's that simple. If you want to say that we're all about right and wrong, again, liberty and justice for all, then you have to actually do it. Stop pretending that you're doing it and just actually do it.
Yeah.
Right? We have to create a scenario where the corrupt have no way of grabbing a stronghold in America. And that's something that everybody should be able to agree upon, right? We should all agree that we don't want corruption in our government. Like, everybody knows that politicians have ways of lining their own pockets, because lobbyists are, giving gifts and blah, blah, blah. And all this stuff is completely legal in our system. Right? And everybody knows that it's real and that it happens. But here's the thing. We aren't changing it. Mm-mm. That's the problem. Right? We're saying, oh, all these politicians are corrupt. But then we just keep on rolling with the system as it is. Mm-hmm. So then don't complain about corruption.
Right.
Don't say you want a fair and just system when the only thing that you're complaining about is the fact that people that you didn't want to have a voice got a voice and you lost. Mm-hmm. If that's the only thing about our system that you don't like, then you don't actually want justice. Mm-hmm. You want your way. And that's why I say the terrorists that we saw yesterday, they were not protesting for justice. Many people want to make the argument that they were protesting and that they were calling for justice and a fair election and transparency in an election, but that's a lie. Because if you actually wanted transparency and fairness and justice, you'd fight for all of it.
Mm-hmm. Across the board.
Across the board.
Mm-hmm.
You can't choose what virtues you fight for. If you want it to be right, then make it right. And you can't tell me that you believe that Donald Trump and his ridiculous, his whole you can't say that you believe that's right. Because you lose all credibility when you say, well, he's fighting for us. He's got bad methods, but he's fighting for us. No, it doesn't work that way. And this brings me to my question. Again, I'm back to my movie scenario. We got all these billionaires in America. Not a single one of them decided to be Batman. Like Oprah, where you at? Like, you have $1 billion. Go hire somebody, build a system, and get on it. Like,
Yep.
Jeff Bezos, start going to the dojo, work out, and put on a suit, and at night, start taking out like the bad guy. Like, I'm dead serious. Everybody, you think I'm joking? I'm not joking. I'm saying, like, you can't say you want justice and equality, and then just sit back and like chill and count your money. That's not justice and equality.
They're getting fatter and fatter.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is what kills me is people want to be selective about their outrage. If you're outraged about injustice, then be outraged about all injustice.
Interest convergence.
Yeah, because they only care about what injustice impacts them.
Yes.
That's what's frustrating is, so you dislike injustice today when it's at your doorstep. But yesterday, when it was black people saying, hey, could you do me a favor and get these police to stop killing us? Right. People were like, oh, whatever, just listen, just comply. But where was all that compliance yesterday?
Right. I saw a lot of white faces
non-compliant
in that crowd yelling at police officers.
Right. But I guarantee you those are the same people talking smack on black lives. Yeah, exactly. But the problem is that the police were on their side yesterday.
Yes, they were. And even if it was only a handful of them,
it doesn't matter.
That's all they needed.
That's all you need. Because think about this. They stormed the United States Capitol.
Yes, they did.
Think about that in theory.
I think it's only happened twice in our history.
Yeah, the last time was the War of 1812.
Yeah.
There were people in the United States Capitol building flying a Confederate flag. You're flying the flag of the enemy.
A big one too.
And there are people in America who don't recognize that makes you the enemy.
We got to watch people driving around in their pickup trucks
every day
with their Confederate flags on one side, and on the other side is an American flag just breezing, waving through in the wind.
And they don't recognize that those two flags don't coincide.
But we got to eat that. Us, black folks.
Yeah.
We got to eat that. When I'm looking at you with your MAGA hat.
Right.
I know what that really means.
It symbolizes hate.
Hate. You hate me. You hate all these people.
Everybody that I love.
Yes. We got to eat that.
And there will be people who say, but that's not what it means. That's not why I wear it. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Your people, your family, they were on the wrong side, and you're on the wrong side.
And the fact of the matter is, if I wore a swastika right now, and said I just happen to like the design.
My great grandfather was actually the ones throwing people into the fires to burn. So I got this flag. That's my family.
Right.
I'm rocking the swastika.
What?
You gonna tell me not to love my
heritage?
That's what you're telling me? Yes.
What? Yes. That is literally that is exactly what I'm telling you.
Disavow that.
Yeah. Or else you're the bad guy.
You're the bad guy. And just accept the role as the bad guy, and you will be pushed to the fringes, and if you do stuff like what you did yesterday, you will be imprisoned.
Right. Be the bad guy. Like, there's got to be a bad guy in the story.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't have the the Batman movie without Bane. You need the bad guy.
Right. Yes.
But the bad guy has to lose.
Right. Yeah. And you need to understand going into it, I'm about to rush this Capitol building.
Right.
So whatever comes is going to come.
Right.
Accept it.
And here's the thing. What frustrates me is how did they live through it? There were 4. My understanding is 4 people died.
And I don't know anything about the deaths.
There were 4 deaths, and I saw at least one of them was a former U.S. military person. The woman that died was
the woman that died.
Yeah, she was in the
shot,
military.
I think by an officer.
Yeah, and she was storming the Capitol, which means that she believed in her mind that she was fighting for like justice and some right because that's what.
They're everywhere, man. When I was in basic training, so my best friends there were 3 of them, all black.
Okay.
But there was this one white dude there. I'll never forget his name, William Norton.
You just called him.
William Norton, but he was cool with us. But William Norton had this group where he and his friends, all in the military, he and his friends were starting this group. I can't remember the name of it, but it was an acronym, and I can't remember the name of it. But they were basically white supremacists.
Really?
And he was telling us his plan.
And he
to
just
take
openly
over
said
the world. Yeah.
Really?
And we would ask him, why are you telling us this? Because there's nothing you guys can do to stop it.
Jeez.
They're everywhere. They're in our police.
Right.
They're in the army.
Judges,
lawyers, all the courts.
Right.
They're politicians.
Right.
They're everywhere.
And what's frustrating is that people are like, nah, that would never happen. and until yesterday, okay, I'm gonna allow you to pretend you were that naive.
Yeah.
Until yesterday, but yesterday you saw.
Yeah. Right.
They actually tried to do it.
So my question is, and I've been wondering this for a while because I knew it was going to come to this. In fact, I kind of expected a civil war of sorts.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's all the way out of the question yet.
It's not.
But what I'm wondering is, after the Civil War, where did those people go? Back to the swamps, back to the woods. They just
went on living their lives.
Where are the Trumpers going to go?
Oh,
we still got to work with them.
But that's why I'm saying Donald Trump finishing out his presidency and going off into the sunset.
Message.
It is not only the wrong message, it means the fight's not over.
Yes. Yes.
You have to round them all up.
Yes.
You have to imprison them.
Right. How do we treat them? How does the average person interact
that's a good point, because,
with the average Trump supporter?
Right, because it's just like the Civil War. When the Civil War is over, all right, what are we going to do now?
Yeah, so, okay, you were my daddy's slave owner.
Right.
Are we supposed to be cool? Am I supposed to understand your side of the story?
Right. No.
No, you have become my enemy.
Right. You're the bad guy and you lost.
Yes.
And other than disliking you, I don't even know that. But I'm saying, like, you have to lock them all up. If you don't, they're just going to continue their plot.
But I'm trying to figure out how the average person interacts with the average Trump supporter.
So they didn't go storm the Capitol. No. They're just a regular person.
But they're still trying to justify it in their soft little way or whatever.
They got their little MAGA. They got on the bumper of their car. They got the little
Make America Great Again.
Right.
What do we do with them? How are we supposed to interact with them? Because to be honest with you, I just don't want to talk to you anymore, man. I got nothing else for you.
Right. Here's what I would say. What I would want is that we all agree that they should just go kick rocks.
Yeah.
Period. Simple as that.
Just go
kick
back
rocks.
into the swamp.
Yeah. Go away. I don't like you.
Yeah.
In fact, I think you're dumb.
Right. You're harmful. You're a threat. You are the true threat.
Because if you see all this happening and you still don't get it, I got to question your intellectual ability.
Because there's a few people in my mind, I just want to say their names.
And I don't even want it. I don't want or need to shame them.
No,
but
I'm not going to.
I want them to know you're wrong.
Yes. You can't be right. Sometimes there just aren't two sides of the story. There might be two sides of the story, but there is a right
and a wrong.
And there is a wrong.
Yeah. Because think about it. The March on Washington, there was a right and a wrong.
Exactly. Colin Kaepernick.
There's a right and a wrong.
Right and a wrong.
And yesterday, when Donald Trump called his supporters out and said, do me a favor, head to the Capitol, let's incite some violence, let's try to turn this thing on its head. Mm-hmm. There was a right and a wrong. Mm-hmm. And there are people who don't understand that they're the bad guys. Mm-hmm. You're rooting for the bad guy. And so what I would want is for us to, one, lock up Donald Trump and all the people who stormed the Capitol and all the people who have helped Donald Trump over the last couple of years. Lock them all up in prison. Mm-hmm. Throw away the key. Mm-hmm. You ain't never getting out.
That's treason.
Ever.
Yeah.
You ain't never getting out. Period.
Right.
Okay. And then that at least sends the message that it would be a mark of shame on you and your family if you even had a MAGA hat.
And definitely, you got to get rid of the Confederate flag. That has to go.
Because the thing is, in America, we want to be inclusive. This is what I hate about liberals. We want to be inclusive. Mm-hmm. Why are we including them?
Mm-hmm. We shouldn't give them any oxygen.
No
voice.
Why do we have to be nice to them? We don't have to be nice to them. Mm-hmm. They are the ones that want to hurt us.
Right. They are the ones hurting our democracy. I ask the people who are Trump supporters, what does democracy mean to you?
Right. And what it means to them, they want it to be for them.
Yes.
And so, we are out of time, I know, and I want to wrap this thing up and put a nice bow in it. But the message that I hope people hear is, please understand who the bad guys are here. Mm-hmm. There's a good guy and a bad guy in this scenario. Mm-hmm. The good guy is freedom and justice and right. Mm-hmm. The bad guy is Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. I'm not even saying Joe Biden's the good guy because I'm not really a fan.
Mm-mm. But he ain't the bad guy.
Right, exactly.
Right. So, and if you're a Trump supporter, you're a bad guy or bad woman. You are on the side of the bad guy. Yesterday, they proved themselves to be the bad guy. You no longer get to sit on the fence. Mm-hmm. So you're either against it or you're on their team. You're complicit.
And if you're on their team, I hope you can hear me when I say this. Go kick rocks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get up off my Facebook
I don't
page.
like you.
Don't even bother contacting me.
Right.
Unless you're really ready to learn something.
Because this is no longer ambiguous. They attacked us.
Yes. This was an attack.
So, okay. So lines have been drawn. I know where I stand. Mm-hmm. I'm on the side of the good. I want freedom and justice for all. I want fair elections. I'll even give you that this system is ridiculous, but let's fix it. But you don't fix it this way.
Mm-mm. Yeah, we can all agree that the system is jacked up.
I'm with you on that.
And that's the reason Donald Trump got in, because they were like, the system's jacked up.
The system is messed up. We need something different. But understand, you got tricked.
Right.
He's the bad guy.
Yep.
He's trying to help himself and his family, and he got y'all hoodwinked. So now that you've seen it yesterday in no uncertain terms, you now have to say, my bad. I didn't realize he was the bad guy. Now I do. I disavow him. I throw my MAGA hat away. I burn my Make America Great stickers.
I heard a woman on the way over here this morning. It was on C-SPAN. I don't know when it was recorded because it was a recorded call, but she had called into some show crying. I supported Donald Trump. Has he lied to me this whole time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he
has. But she was genuinely surprised and shocked
because there
by
are people who couldn't see it until yesterday, and now they do. I've been getting messages from people saying like, I no longer identify as a Republican because they've lost their way, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, good, because this is actually the moment that 4 years ago I was hoping would happen.
Yeah, but for some reason I'm still mad at you for that. Like it took you till just now.
Right.
To see it?
Yeah, like Common said, it don't take a whole day to recognize sunshine.
Come on.
Like you couldn't see it until now?
Come on.
But I'm not even that mad. I'm saying as long as you saw yesterday and you went and immediately threw away your
too late.
Right.
To redeem
as long
yourself.
as you threw away your MAGA hat yesterday, we're cool.
Yeah, come on home.
Right.
Come
Open
on
arms. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were led astray.
You can come to the dinner table with us, man. Yes.
But if you watched what happened yesterday and you still wear the MAGA hat,
over.
Then you're. It's like wearing a swastika.
It is. It's over for you.
It's literally like the Confederate flag.
Yes. And I shouldn't say it's over for you. It's over for us. In this thing that we ever had, if we had something.
Whatever we ever had is gone now. If you're still rocking with him, I'm done with you.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're right. The lines have been drawn.
Yeah.
There's a good side and there's a bad side.
It's as simple as that. Be on the bad side. Be the bad guy. Embrace being the bad guy. I don't kick it with the bad guy. So good luck with that.
And if you tell me where you stand on Colin Kaepernick, you don't have to tell me if you're a Trump supporter or not. I already know.
Right.
I could tell you who you voted for if I asked you what your thoughts are on Colin Kaepernick.
Right. I already know. We're good.
I already know.
Right. So this is what I'll say. I hope that yesterday was the eye-opening experience that it needed to be for some people. I didn't need my eyes open, but a lot of people did. And so I hope that we as a country come together and recognize, okay, now we got to fix it. The system is broken. And even, the Trump supporting MAGA folks, they're right about the system being broken. Mm-hmm. So let's fix it. But let's be honest when we fix it. You know what I mean? Let's call for the right stuff. If you're calling for, suppression of votes, if you're calling for difficulty of the average poor person in voting, then you're not calling for justice. You know what I mean? If you're saying people shouldn't be able to vote by mail, why? If it's safe and reasonable, then why not? Mm-hmm. Who can, what are you talking about? I think everybody should be able to vote on their phone. Everybody, it should be an electronic system at 2:00 on November, whatever the day is. Mm-hmm. Boop.
And it should be a week long if we really value. Right. If we really value
everybody. Right.
Vote.
We give you a whole week. We give you a whole week. Get here when you can.
And your work gives you hours off.
You get time off. Mm-hmm. Everybody vote. And the popular vote is what it is.
And you don't have to worry about long lines anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you truly want justice and equality and fairness in your elections, then call for that.
And let's leave the mailboxes where they are.
Right. But don't say you want to be for fairness and justice and equality and transparency in elections, and then you're suppressing votes, and you don't want people of color and poor people and women, and you don't want rights for all. No, that's not justice.
Yeah, if you're looking to gauge what's right and what's wrong, look to people of color, look to women, and figure out what are they fighting for.
Right.
Because chances are your interests will align with their interests.
Right.
Period.
So like I said, I hope that this is the wake-up call. I hope it is. I have a sneaky suspicion that there are far too many Americans out there who still won't see it. But let me be clear, if you still don't see it, if you're still on their side, I can't rock with you. Simple as that. But that's all we've got for today. Do me a favor. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think needs to come next in America. Put it in the comments. Let's have this conversation. And I know this isn't the end. I'm not hopeful about what the next 2 weeks are going to look like. But Colin Powell, Barack Obama, anybody, whoever's out there, whoever, the Secret Service, somebody, there got to be some general out there like, I can't let this happen to my country.
We need a hero.
We need a hero. It's time.
Mm-hmm. And heroes are born from tragedy. So this was a tragedy.
And I'm not even saying like sneak in and like grab Donald Trump, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm not even saying that. But remove him. Mm-hmm. He shouldn't be the president. Mm-mm. Today.
Yeah. Send the message.
It has to end. Articles of impeachment, the 25th Amendment, it has to end. It has to happen. If the bad guys ride off into the sunset, then they didn't lose. Mm-hmm. So that's all I've got for today. I'm here with Danny Miller. I'm Dr. Rueben Brock, and this is House Call.